I just had this idea in my head too. I don't really feel like talking about a lot today, but I do feel like continuing this practice and making this video. I've been thinking a lot about practice. I was thinking about practice a lot in my on my walk this morning. Um, what else was I gonna say? Yeah, I filmed a video yesterday that I didn't actually post, so that's probably gonna get posted today. And then I don't really want to do more than one video, excuse me, in a day. So some way or another, this one will get posted one day. That one I posted yesterday will get posted, or yeah, that the one I filmed yesterday I'll post today or tomorrow. I don't know. But yeah, I don't really feel like talking about that much today. I think because I have a lot to write today and I have a lot to kind of work in front of me today. So yeah, I don't really feel like it very much. I did kind of like a brain dump before I started this so that I didn't lose everything that was in my mind. But yeah, I think that prioritization is going to get harder probably because I think a good thing about this is that it's like a place for expression and it's a place for my energy to go. But when I have competing demands, I think it might be hard to, give here first when I need to be giving my thought energy and my mind energy elsewhere. So that's just something I'm kind of thinking about. But I also kind of want to talk about, I want to bring more physical things into this space to talk about rather than always have to just kind of like ramble from my mind. Um, it does also make me want more of a setup where I could do like something in the background or add a screenshot, which I could probably do in the video software. So if I want to talk about an album or something like that. But I just randomly grabbed this book because it's a book of poetry that I've been kind of working through. Um, and I bought this book at a bookstore near where I live, and I liked like, I liked the cover and I liked the color of it. And as I've said here a lot, am really into leaning into when you are just drawn to something and you don't necessarily have a very good reason why. I think there can be a lot to that. That's why I think bookstores are so fun, is because if you're just drawn to something by the title and the cover, that's probably worth paying attention to in the first place. But something I like about this as I've been reading it is it's such a different lived experience than I can ever imagine. Yeah, it's such a different lived experience. And um, it makes, because the writer, the poet, um, has such a unique life experience. He writes about being African American and having a stutter. Um, So it's like all about his stutter and his speech impediment, and also being black. And I think he might be queer too, but I might have just assumed that, which I know I think he does talk about it in here. But so yeah, so it kind of ties that very unique experience to like plant wisdom and plant wisdom and I feel like the universal human experience. I feel like kind of maybe. And it has a lot of like music stuff, so I guess you could like play it along or sing it along. I think that's really beautiful, and it also, you know, it talks a lot about. I mean, these illustrations are also just beautiful, and I love this color, which is another thing that drew me to it. So I feel like, yeah, I love the color. I love the. Yeah. It reminds me of someone I met who was studying forestry. There's a forestry school nearby that, yeah, forestry people. I worked with a guy who actually completed the same forestry program, and I worked with him in a nonprofit setting. And I feel like the commonality between like folks I meet who are involved in forestry is like there's a lot of there's just a lot of radicalism within that setting, I find. Um, Not to like make a sweeping statement, and not necessarily in a bad way, but I think, I don't know, it's interesting. But yeah, the guy I worked with who worked in forestry, um, well, not to make it specifically about him, but I guess that I wonder if I can quickly tie this in like 2 minutes. But it does remind me of international development and kind of a lot of the negatives that come from international development. Um, my experience kind of going abroad and learning more about international development spaces is that there are a lot of people who really genuinely are trying to are doing good work, I think, and are doing right. I mean, everyone's going to always have a different opinion, but I think are doing right by local communities and lifting, yeah, lifting others up. But I also feel like a lot of the time it just sustains kind of like expats opting out of participating in, I don't know, like kind of, yeah, expats opting out. I feel like that's one thing. I think another thing is that to me, any any entity that is going to enable foreign communities to kind of create more commodities for developed countries to consume, kind of, I question that, because it's like how much more do we need to funnel out of resource dense areas like tropical environments for our enjoyment in, you know, developed nations. And yeah, I just think, like, when I think about coffee and chocolate and vanilla, and I mean, you could think of a lot more. It's just kind of like, how much more do we need to create as commodities to then sell to the global north? I just don't know how much more we need to do that. And um, I understand wanting to kind of serve the global, like local communities in the global south, although, man, I kind of wish I hadn't gone down this rabbit hole because I don't feel equipped to fully talk about it. But in general, I just don't know how much more we should be taking from like vulnerable, resource dense, biodiverse regions of our planet for the enjoyment of. Yeah, for export, for the enjoyment of people who live in the global north. Yeah.